when you have achieved some sort of success or when you've done anything, you have a duty to share and to help. I'm not saying you have to have a course on it. I'm not saying you have to have open office hours where people pick your brain. But I am saying, and I've said this before, when you keep your arms closed, the blessings don't come to you. Right. So when God has elevated you and allowed you to see some type of success, and it doesn't always have to be monetary, it is on you to be gracious to those who are looking at you, because you never know who's looking at you. And when you are the person that is looking at someone in admiration, you have to be willing to say, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for being an example. Mm-hmm. You may not want to ask them for help or whatever, but if you have a question, I think it's okay to ask. You got to put yourself out there too, right? Because they need to hear that what they're doing is inspiring.
They're human too.
They're human.
They're human too. And if you don't say it, how would they know?
Hey you, welcome to Shades of Content, a show that teaches entrepreneurs how to effectively use content to market their business and stay content while doing it. I'm your host, Patrice, a wife, a mom of 3, and a 15-year public relations and marketing professional who decided to open a brick and mortar content studio 4 years ago. And I honestly haven't looked back since. Join me as I share my experiences and the experiences of other entrepreneurs who, like me, are navigating this maze of owning a business, running a family, and trying to stay sane and healthy while doing it. I'll tell you, it's an amazingly challenging journey, but I honestly wouldn't have it any other way. See you soon.
Outsource everything. Outsource everything. Let me tell you all the things that I outsource. I have my clothes picked up and washed and delivered and folded. I don't wash clothes on a consistent basis anymore because I have these 2 little humans who have lots of clothes that they get messy. So I use a company. We put all their dirty clothes in and then they come. I schedule it on the app. They come and pick the clothes up. They drop it off the next day. I also outsource my cleaning. I have a cleaning lady. Now I'll clean up, we'll vacuum. We'll do the simple stuff every other day or so. But I have my cleaning lady come to our house once a month and clean the house top to bottom. Because that is just not something that I have time to do. Just like I don't have time to be sitting and folding clothes. Like that ain't the best use of my time. Obviously, some things I like to just pick up myself. But for the most part, we're Instacarting it. So we're outsourcing things. This podcast that you're listening to, I have a team that comes in and does the physical recording and the audio. And then I have a VA in the Philippines. Shout out to Aileen. And she's been great.
That's right, busy mompreneurs. Now is the time to outsource everything. And I have created the How to Find a Virtual Assistant e-guide that can literally take you from doing everything to doing none of the things. Tap the link in the show notes. Not only do I give you the tips to finding the perfect virtual assistant, but I also list 20 plus companies that are reputable, highly recommended, and you can access them immediately to get your virtual assistant found and hired. Tap the link in the show notes for your How to Find a Virtual Assistant guide. Can't wait to help you move through life with more contentment.
Happy Friday. Welcome back. We are on, the last Friday in April. The way that this year is moving and like not even playing around is blowing my mind. And I probably said this already on the episode. But welcome back to Shades of Content, the show that teaches Black millennial mompreneurs content marketing tips, but also how to live content lives. What does contentment mean? I always like to remind people because people get contentment and complacency mixed up. They are 2 different things, right? When you are content, you're in a place of peaceful satisfaction, regardless of all the things that are happening in your life. And when you are said busy Black millennial mompreneur, like the one I have here, you got a rack of shit going on, period.
Right.
Before we started recording, we were talking about, actually, I'm a horrible host. Okay. You guys, I have a guest today. Hi, Noémie.
Hi.
Oh my God.
How are you?
Y'all see how we're blushing? So
this is a long time coming,
like schoolgirls, okay?
Yeah. I'm excited to be here if you can't already tell.
Yes, we have Noémie Gaines. She is a mother, an attorney, a wife, a creator, a business owner, like so many things, right? Y'all, we be wearing all the hats. You recently fired your full-time job.
I love that.
You like that?
I love that. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
I fired my full-time job.
But before that, we add that to the list too, doing so many things. And so, yes, I do have a guest. Before we get into our conversation, though, I do, just want to I always like to kind of remind you all, if you're watching or listening to the show, you absolutely can do everything that you say you want to do, right? If God puts it in your head, it's possible. It can happen. You're going to have to do the work. Yep. You're also going to have to cut out all the extraneous things that are keeping you from what you want to achieve.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times those extraneous things are things we think we have to do.
Yeah.
And this is why I preach outsourcing and having help, getting a virtual assistant, hiring a nanny, having somebody wash your clothes, all the things that I think as Black women, we've been conditioned to think we have to do it all.
Yep.
We got to be strong. We got to be grandmama, mama, chef, maid, motivational speaker, we got to be all of those things. Don't nobody else got to do all of that.
Right. And who's doing that for us? See, that's a whole nother conversation.
Girl, we about to get into it. Just some quick reminders. Check out the show. Share this episode right now before we even get into it. Whatever you're watching on, be it if you're listening or if you're on YouTube, there's a button that says share. Click that button, copy that link, and text it, email it to 3 people. Last week, I think I said 2. This week, I'm saying 3. We're upping the ante here. Share it with someone that you know needs some inspiration on creating content. A mom who might need some inspiration on balancing and keeping in her place of peace. Just share it. Share it with somebody that don't even relate to this, because there might be a nugget in this episode or past episodes that will help you. Make sure you're also following us on Shades of Content. Every link that you need is in the show notes. Let's get into this episode.
Let's do it.
My girl, Noémie. Noémie, please let our viewers, audience know, who are you?
I am a lot of things. Somebody once said, I'm a multi-hyphenate, something like that. I am a former, I guess I'll always be a lawyer, but I fired my former employer. I am a content creator. I am the COO of our media company. I am a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a chauffeur. I'm a chef. I do all the things, and I've been doing the things for a while, but I'm kind of in this space where I'm focusing on, my own brand outside of our family brand. So I'm really excited to start this journey.
I'm so excited to see you stepping into your own personal brand. I'm so excited to see you, stepping into your own personal brand. That is something that I always like to stress that people do. Girl, come on.
Yeah.
And not to say you didn't already have an audience, but seeing Noémie shine as Noémie has been beautiful. But I would like to kind of, how did we get here? You're in DC. I know you're not from here. Give me some background, where you're from, what led you to law school.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. So I am originally from New Jersey. I'm of Haitian descent, so first generation here.
I didn't know you were from Jersey.
Yeah, I'm from Jersey.
What part?
Elizabeth Hillside.
Okay, my mom's from Montclair.
Oh, okay. So Union County. Yeah. Oh, that's Essex County, but close enough. Close enough. And I love Montclair. I always wanted to live there when I was younger.
Well, she's not from the rich part.
Oh,
she's from the hood.
Okay.
But it's okay.
But that was the dream, going to Montclair. But grew up predominantly Haitian environment. I had 2 tracks, either going to be a doctor or a lawyer. So I didn't really want to do either. And I really love being in the entertainment industry. I was in pageants. I sang. I did a lot of things in the beginning, but it was just for fun. Yeah. But I ended up moving to Atlanta for college. I went to Emory University in Atlanta. But while I was there, I worked in recording studios. So I was there. I don't know what I was majoring in. It was business and political. I had a whole bunch of majors in the beginning. But on the side, I always worked in the entertainment industry because I just knew I wanted to be there in some capacity. Then after I graduated, I did Teach for America in Miami, and I taught for a couple of years. And in the summers, I would work ABFF, the American Black Film Festival. And that's kind of how I started to, get to know people in the entertainment industry. And after I taught for about 3 years, I decided, now is the time to go to law. Well, my parents decided, now you have to go to law school. So I'm all right, fine. I'll go to DC, got into law school. And when I needed an internship, I pulled those entertainment contacts that I had, and I ended up working at Radio 1 and TV 1.
Okay.
So I worked there all throughout law school.
Where'd you go to law school?
American.
Oh, okay.
Up in Tinleytown.
We have way too much in common.
What?
I got my master's from American.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I graduated in 2016.
Okay, I was long gone by then, but okay.
But that was like my whole like legal career, and I ended up working at Radio 1 for the general counsel office right after law school.
Very cool.
Loved it for a minute, but then I knew I didn't really want to be a lawyer. So I ended up getting another job that was a lot more flexible, because working in the entertainment industry is just intense.
It is.
It's really intense.
Very
and then I
much
got like a more comfortable, flexible job, still working in entertainment, but more on the educational aspect. Okay. So I always say that I was kind of like Google for lawyers. That's kind of the content that I did. So it was a lot of how to be an entertainment lawyer and how to prep lawyers who, especially like older lawyers who didn't really understand the internet, didn't understand social media, and creating resources for them to better help their clients.
Okay.
So I knew everything that you needed to know about social media, about how to negotiate contracts on both sides, how to work with social media content creators, how to work just with the internet in general. So I really became an expert there. And around that time, I met Kier. So I met Kier at a bar somewhere. Our relationship, it was a situationship turned somewhat serious, and then we had an unexpected pregnancy. So that, that just kind of threw a wrench in our plan. All the plans. But long story short, I had a really flexible job. Our relationship was kind of working, thriving-ish at the time, and that's also around the time when he decided that he wanted to do like social media content to document, our journey becoming parents. This was before he was a therapist, but I was there to kind of help out because I understood the industry, understood like the behind-the-scenes part of the industry, and I think that's where our kind of career started, and why people are really surprised to see me now, because I've always been behind the scenes.
It's so interesting, and I've said this on the show before. You cannot fight what is for you.
No.
So as someone who, as a child, wanted to, and how about, because you were always behind the scenes, I always just assumed you were a shy, quiet person.
No.
Not at all.
No.
You're clearly an entertainer.
Yep.
And you were doing this on the side as a child, and not even realizing that it was a part of the path for you to step right back and look at you now. You are said entertainer. That's crazy.
I think people who knew me as a child are like, I've always seen this. But people who, like, I was even in theater. I was Dorothy in The Wiz.
Come on, so was like, I.
We're going to talk after
Ninth
this.
grade. Now, how old was I? 10? It was a big deal.
Yeah.
To be Dorothy.
To be in The Wiz.
Come on.
The Wiz. But I've never been shy, but I would definitely say I'm a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
I'm chill.
You're
I'm
chill.
not shy. I'm chill. But I've always been more comfortable behind the scenes because I've always been in like work mode. Right. So I was never the star, but I was in the room.
Right.
I've always been in the room.
That's the clip.
So now kind of being here, it's like I've done the work. I've done the prep. I know how to show up. So it feels a lot more natural. It doesn't feel like a hustle.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm just stepping into what I was supposed to do.
That's me. And I think, there's this divine alignment when you meet Kier, who is, you guys, if you don't know her husband, Kier Gaines, he is DC Southeast.
Yes.
Through and through.
Yes.
He's created in the space before, and I'm sure you know him, but he is a very intentional creator, with the tent poles of fatherhood, Black manhood, therapy, mental wellness, and that's her husband. And so what you see him build, you were right, that's partners in this. So that's amazing that y'all just serendipitously met in this club bar.
And
so
it was a club right after. It's a whole story.
I love it. When he said to you, let's do this content, let's document this, what did you think? And like, how did y'all jump into that?
I thought he was crazy. I thought he was ridiculous. Yeah. And I remember I said specifically, like, it's not like we're ever going to be on Ellen. Why were we on Ellen?
On Ellen.
Ellen, Oprah, all of these. And in my mind, I'm like, you know, just for background, my husband here, he used to be a rapper. So like he is the star. Like he's the guy that is the center of attention. Like I'm not surprised he's in this space.
Absolutely.
I think what's funny though, I think what he was missing was like the polishing, like the behind what I offered.
What we bring in.
You know, and that's also another conversation. Yeah. But I think it was definitely meant to be. And I think we're at this place for a specific reason. But I didn't understand it, especially around the time. This is when we started YouTube.
Yeah,
so
give me a year. Like around what year was this?
2018.
Okay.
It was 2018 because we had our daughter in it was 2017.
Yeah, because
she was 3 months old.
Parker. That's right.
She was like 3 months old when we started our first video. But, you know, I knew that this was an outlet for him. And in the beginning, it just became a hobby. And then we started monetizing. We started monetizing pretty quickly. Nice. So I'm like, oh, this is a business, and we got children. I mean, we had a baby. Absolutely. We have bills to pay. So I'm like, okay, if we're going to do this and if we're going to invest money and time into it, how can we make money from it? So that's when I started looking at, you know, content strategy and looking at other, you know, brands and other families that were doing this and trying to see what sets us apart. And then where can we kind of borrow strategy from other people that were already successful? Right. So that was all me in the beginning. So it was more like he's going to focus on fatherhood and I'm going to kind of be behind the scenes to not legitimize, but like back up his experience. You can be a father all you want, but you're not showcasing your family. That's right. And your marriage. You can only go as far. That's you know, you can't go that far. But then people started becoming more interested in me and what I had to say. And then that's when we started our sit down talk, which is our couples therapy session. And that really took off.
I'll never forget this. I think this was around 18 or 19. I think it was pre-pandemic, but this was the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep and I was in my bed and I was on y'all YouTube page.
No way.
And I was watching, I think I watched like 3 videos.
What?
And one of them was when it was his mom. I don't remember the episode, but he was memorializing his mother. And I was in tears because it was very powerful, right? And then fast forward to a couple months, it was the post about you nursing and him finding out that his mom was a nursing coach. And I was like, you all tell stories, not tell stories because this is your real life, but you're able to package these stories in such clear and concise ways that pull on heartstrings, or they make you laugh, or they make you be like, yes. Is that like something like, what is your content strategy? You know, like how are you all, we're in May, right? Or April, about to be in May. What does it look like for the Gaines family brand to plan out content?
So we kind of have like content missions. We're really big with words and phrases. Yeah. So the biggest thing right now is authenticity, but for real. A lot of people say that you have to show up and be authentic, but like there is some type of like a curated kind of sense to it. But like, are you actually being yourself? Are you performing? And I think for us, like, it's really important for us to look like your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, like the people that you know in real life, because we want to normalize real life. And I think that a lot of the times on social media, especially if we want to, you know, people want to create brands, they're looking at other people to try to be similar to them. And I think for us, take the similar strategy, but be yourself. You can, like, I feel like if I were to perform or if I were to, you know, be a certain personality, like I can't keep that going for what are we doing, 6 years now? I could not keep that up.
And if you try, you're going to go crazy.
You're going to go crazy and somebody is going to poke a hole in it. It's not secure if you're not being yourself. So I think for us being completely honest and vulnerable has always helped. Like even there's certain times where I'm like, oh, maybe I sound a little pretentious here, or maybe, you know, this doesn't feel right. My friends don't think that. My mama don't think that. You know, the people who know me in real life don't think that. And what I would also hate is for people who know me to look at my content and be like, that's not her.
That's it.
One thing that anybody who knows us will say, like, they're online the way that they are in real life. And I think that that's what has helped for us. You know, I don't know if it'll work for other people, but I know it works for us.
Yeah, and if it works for you, then that's what you should do. I think that there is there's such value in being able to like have integrity. you know, and nobody's perfect. Absolutely not. But I like to know that what I see is what I'm getting in this space. Now, if you're an actor, if you Denzel or Lauren London, you're an actor. Right. I'm expecting to see a performance. Right. But what we're using, like you just said, authenticity, but for real, we're being sold people's lives. Yeah. And very often are the holes being poked. Yep. But that doesn't mean you can't have something for yourself, right? Yep.
We're very strategic. We always say that we show, what is it? What does he say? We show 20% of 100% of our lives. So like you're seeing something real, but like you're not going to see every argument. You're not going to see like every single thing that we're going through. We might touch on it, but we are he says we're giving you 100% of 20% of our lives.
There you go.
100% of 20%.
I'm
giving you everything that I am willing to share, but everything else is for me and mine.
Me and mine. Mm-hmm. And you have kids. What has this, and now I'm kind of going off here.
No, it's all good.
What has it been like for your daughter? She's about to be 6 because our daughters are the same age. How has being in this world with cameras and things impacted her?
Emery thinks she's famous.
Okay.
Emery thinks that she's famous. Like we'd still do brand deals. And I remember we were doing something for Mattel. Like it was a Barbie deal. It was Wawa. And we were like, okay, we need to shoot you eating this sandwich. So she grabs the sandwich. She's like, this is so, I'm like, babe, you don't gotta, but she knows how to turn it on. Like she's had a camera in her face her whole life. Her entire life. So I think it's like an extra person in the family. Yeah. She's very comfortable, on camera. And I think that, we're actually in this place because of her. She went viral first. So
with the fries.
The French fry. Right. She was the French fry baby in DC for like years. But she is very much herself. She is very much her daddy's baby. So, I mean, I don't think it phases her at all. And I also think that we live in an era with social media. Like, I think all kids are kind of used to having cameras in their face. She just knows that she gets paid for it now.
Come on.
So she knows she got her account.
I love it. Emery is a mess. We have pictures of her from our little book things. Remember the stories we would do?
Licking the door. Licking. I think I have that picture framed. Because I'm like, girl, in her ladybug costume. Yes, I remember that.
These kids. Full-time entrepreneurship, right? Yeah. So you fired your job.
I love that.
You are an attorney, but you were working. So for these last 6 years, you were doing all of this, building this brand, family business, family media company. I'm so happy you said that. It's a media company.
Yeah.
While having an employer. I want to know what happened in your life where you said, this is enough. I can move on. And how were you? Like, did your coworkers be like, was there ever any issues like doing this and that?
So honestly, I don't think my coworkers really knew. What one of them did. Okay. Who I was really close to. Like she knew, but my coworkers didn't really know until it was around the pandemic, and we usually have this like yearly meeting where we talk about like our goals for the year and everything. We didn't have budget because, it was the pandemic, and I'm usually the one planning that workshop. Okay. And we needed someone to talk about mental health and wellness. And they were like, well, we don't have the budget. And they wanted me to do it because I've always been into mental health and wellness at work. And I'm like, well, my husband can do it. And I think that once I, pitched that idea and I showed them some sample things that he had done, because I think by that time he had worked for NASA. I don't think he had worked with Oprah yet, but he had like a pretty decent following. Yeah. And once they saw him in action, they're like, wait, so what do you do again? So even then, I still don't think that they noticed. They didn't realize how big it was until I quit. But what made me decide to go, I mean, how honest do we want to be?
Girl.
Okay, let's keep it 1,000. I think it wasn't even about balancing the careers. I think it was the lack of action behind prioritizing mental health and wellness. So I've always worked for, a flexible company. They understood, maybe I had to pick up my kids, but now I have a baby. She's sick. Yeah. I'm at home. I don't feel like I can perform. So I need to take this time off, or I need to readjust. And I think being the go-getter at work having to say, I'm going to sit down. Yeah. You know, like, I don't want to go as hard as I was. You know, I'd been in a company for 6 years. It's different pre-kids, post-kids. And I think that adjustment was hard. I was getting a little bit of pushback, and it wasn't sustainable anymore. Could I do it? Yes. Yeah. But would I be happy? No. Okay. And I had to choose. So I chose me.
I love the choosing you. You know, one of the things when I used to, I still go on these momcations, and it's so easy when you have all the things to put yourself last on the list. It's natural, I think, right? As caring people. But whether it's choosing yourself for your kids, for your family, or for your job, like, you know what? I need this for myself, because if I don't do this, nobody gonna be good. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that you did that. And I'm happy that it's some people maybe would say it's like a drastic thing to like, but you got to do what's next, right? Because when you're not doing what is next and what God is telling you to do, nothing else will come for you.
It felt drastic until I felt like I was doing what God wanted me to do. Yeah. Because I've been thinking about this for years. And I feel like at some point, can I tell you the story about how I quit? So for some reason, I have a very vivid imagination, and I always feel like I manifest a lot of things. I mean, I do. I manifest all of the great things that have happened to me. I have manifest. I see it in a dream, or I just feel it. I feel that sense. And I always felt like we recently moved, something about leaving my job and moving into a new home, because we moved into a home where we can build a studio in the basement. We're actually constructing that right now. And it always correlated in my head. So I'm literally at the closing table, and it's like I'm so uncomfortable, and I feel like God is telling me to do it. I signed that last sheet of paper. I'm like, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick. I go to the bathroom and I call my boss. I'm like, I'm done. Like that day, not even that day, that moment. And I'm like, I just felt so free. And we documented it. I put it on Instagram.
Yes.
That was that video. Yes. I was in the car. So I had already
in the car. That's right.
I sent the email after I had the conversation with her. So I called her first, and I'm like, this is what I'm about to do. She's like, is there anything I can say to keep you? And I'm like, no. She's like, all right, just send the letter. So I'm in the car on my phone, like texting the letter and everything. And like, even to this day, that was the best decision I've ever made in my life. And after that, the blessings came tenfold, and they still come in. And all I had to do was listen and do what God told me to do.
And the thing is, he be saying, do this, do this, do this, do this. And we just ignore it. I know. Like, and it don't have to be quitting your job, right? Or resigning. It could literally be pay for the person's coffee in front of you. Yep. Go outside. And like, we just ignore it. And I'm telling you every time, and I'm speaking to myself here, right? Because I'm not, it ain't always that I listen to what I'm being told. Right. But when I do, those be the ones. Yep. Those be the ones. Okay, so now you're in a space after 6 years. You've had extreme success in your career while also building this. Now we're focusing on your media company with your husband. But I remember you have very traditional Haitian parents. My husband's Haitian. So I'm very clear about the expectations, you know, and it's not just Haitians. I do believe it's first generation families. Absolutely. Right. When they see American success, it is certain type. It ain't just a career. Like you said, it's certain types of careers. It's being married before you have a child. Yeah. And I'm not, listen, that wasn't me. This one right here, y'all be seeing all the time. Come on. He was at my wedding, right? So was mine. Okay.
He was right there next to me, running around in the front, messing with my dress.
So I want to know, like, what do your parents say about all of this?
So I have traditional parents, and they're traditional in one way, and I'm going to speak to my mom first. My mom is a serial entrepreneur. Okay. So my mom, both my parents were pretty traditional when they first came here, but 9/11 really affected us really bad. My mom lost her job after that. And my mom actually started this company. It was called HSTV, Haitian Satellite Television Company. And so my mom has been in entertainment since, how old was I? Maybe 11, 12. Yeah. So she was behind the camera, in front of the camera, one woman show, doing all of these things. Unfortunately, that business didn't work, but after that, she had another business and then another business and then another business. And I think my mom just realized, especially within corporate America, how fickle it could be, you know, and she's like, I can't depend on this, you know, financially. So seeing her, I think my mom really just wanted me to get on my feet.
There you go.
And I think that the kind of life that she envisioned me living, she's like, you need these lawyer checks. But now that I have the lawyer checks plus some, she's like, oh, you good.
You good. Yeah.
I don't care what you do now because you did it. You know, sometimes you just have to, you know, bite your tongue, get in the room, do what you have to do. But I think that, you know, now she sees, like, I'm so similar to her, even though we butt heads a lot. But I just feel like having a mom who was, you know, an entrepreneur and hustled and, you know, fell and then got back up. I wasn't so afraid. It was more of, I need to make sure I had that financial foundation. And once I had that, I mean, I don't think I would have stayed in the law. Even if it wasn't this, I don't think I would have stayed.
That's such, when I talk about like going back to working full time, I don't have to work. Like I don't have to have this job. And when things get really stressful, my husband's like, just quit. Like, it's not that deep. I got us. But one of the things my mom always was like, you need to be able to take care of yourself no matter what. Yep. We're not sitting here saying your man gonna leave, none of that stuff. We're saying, especially when you have children, in the event you're doing this alone, you have to be able to financially support those humans that you have brought into the world. That's just what it is. And so the light bulb finally clicked, but also both of my kids, because I had 2 kids in 21 months. So yeah, it was they're 20 months apart. So working a job just was not an option. And then the pandemic happened, so everything just kind of fell into place. But as soon as those 2 was full day, it was like, we're going back to work. And like I said, my husband's like, well, just if you ain't like it, if it's stress, just quit. And I'm like, until this creator space is paying me more, I'm not quitting. Yeah. I'm not. I might find something else, but I'm not quitting because, again, we want to be financially stable no matter what. And it's possible, right?
Absolutely.
It's possible.
Absolutely.
And that might not be for everybody, right? Like I was a stay-at-home mom for a while. I was. Like, I know what that life looks like, and I know how hard it is. Part of the reason also why I went back to work, because them kids got on my goddamn nerves.
Sydney's in daycare. You think she's going to be at home with me?
No.
Now that I'm home? No, thank you. No,
bye, girl. You need to be around friends.
Right? I need to be productive. Like,
I need to be productive.
But this is also good for me.
Absolutely.
And if I have to take another brand deal, take another, opportunity to pay for that, then that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm not trying to live in a deficit anymore. I'm not doing that.
I love that.
Never again.
Never again. No. We talk about the deficit, the closed mindset, the thinking lack is okay, and not being able to experience and even just imagine the possibilities. Yep. Imagine the possibilities. And if working a little harder or sending that email to the brand deal or just shooting your shot is one step in reaching said possibility, do it. Like, why are we selling ourselves short here?
Absolutely.
A lot of moms are watching this. A lot of women are watching this. A lot of people are watching this and listening to this who are one woman, one man shops, right? They pitching the brand deals, creating the concepts, pulling the Google contract template off of Google, taking the pictures, hiring the photographers. Noémie, can you give us a couple tips?
Oh, for sure.
From your attorney brain on how creators can move more, smart in this space.
Work smarter, not harder.
There you go.
No, absolutely. The biggest thing is, and we talked about this a little bit before, is we're living in this like DIY space where everybody wants to, figure it out themselves. And I think that's great in the beginning, but at some point you have to scale up. And what I constantly see with a lot of like my social media friends is like the lack of like legal representation. You know what I mean? We can figure out strategy online. We can look at other, other content creators and kind of model our strategies around them. We can figure out who to contact for the brand. But reading contracts, like, it's a lot more complicated than I think people see. And I think a lot of times people trap themselves in certain situations. And I think it's just really important to just outsource. Like kind of like you talk about outsourcing a lot at home. Yeah. This is something that can save you thousands of dollars. Like even when we're talking about brand deals, like, you know, compete clauses and like if you're working with this brand, what does the contract say about you working with another similar brand, especially if you have a specific niche?
Right.
Like now you losing money, you know, or, you know, that's just like one of the biggest things. But I think that people really just need to spend that money. I think it's worth it, but also be careful who you spend that money on. So this is like 1A, subsection A, but, there is a large population of millennial lawyers out here. And I think a lot of times when we think of good lawyers, we think of the ones that have been in the business for a long time. When it comes to social media and the internet, it's constantly changing, even today. The reason why I was so successful at my job is because I stayed on top of current cases and current things that were happening, because precedent don't exist if it's constantly changing. So I just think that like finding a lawyer that one understands the social media industry, that understands, you know, just the internet in general. And a lot of times they look like me, you know, and I think, and a lot of times we're not the ones that are chosen, but trust me, a lot of us, we're not working at firms no more. We're not working these 50, 60, 70 hour weeks anymore. And I just think that the same way that we're a lot more open and exploratory when it comes to the social media industry, I think it's helpful to do that when you're seeking representation, especially legal representation.
Absolutely. When did you and Kier decide that you needed or know that you needed a manager?
I never knew. They came to us.
Oh, okay.
I thought we could do it on our own. I thought we can do it on our own. And I know at some point we wanted to scale. We wanted to scale up. And what I started seeing at first is when a brand would reach out to us and they'll give us the amount. And I'm like, let's see if we can get double. And then it'll be quick. They'll be like, okay. Sure. I'm like, oh, I didn't ask for enough then. So that was number one. And when Kier really started coming out with his like mental health work, we started getting different types of brand partnerships. It was like speaking engagements. And I didn't know how to handle that. And the way that we got our manager was actually really crazy. The management company that we were reaching out to, I had reached out to them before. And they had no idea because clearly they didn't reach whoever it was supposed to reach. And the original manager that we had ended up getting let go from the company. And then the VP hit us up because she had some like, you know, history with mental health within her family. So she just felt really passionate about the topic. And she's a big deal. Like our manager is a big deal. But she just felt so passionately about Kier's stance that it was kind of like, let's see how this goes. And we've been with her for almost 3 years now. So I think that like it's that vibe thing as well, you know, just making sure that like people understand not just your brand, but understand who you are as a person and the kind of legacy that you want to leave. And when they're aligned with that, it just works. And it's been magic ever since.
That's amazing. And but you have to know the legacy you want to leave and like how you want to be remembered before you can have representation come in and package it, right? Because if they're not saying it or pitching it in the right way, then it's not going to be opportunities that you want.
It took us 3 years. It took us 3 years to get management. You know, it took us 3 years to figure out what we wanted to do, because mental health and wellness was not where we were going to be lifestyle YouTube vloggers, you know, and then it turned into this. And I'm like, this is more aligned with the kind of people that we want to be. Right. And now that we can bring that to social media, that makes it seamless. That makes it easy.
So this is Noémie's first individual podcast interview. Okay. Y'all know we be bringing y'all people first. I'll run down the list of names, but I won't.
But you should.
I should. You should. Maybe Aileen, if you could put some of the names when you edit it. What has that been like for you stepping out, you know, and being one part of the media company, doing your own thing? Do you feel like angst because you're like in front?
Oh, no. Okay. I mean, natural, like not anxiety, just a little nervous. Like I want to make sure I don't say the wrong thing. And, you know, I come across the way that, you know, that really feels like me, but I feel like I've been preparing for this my entire life. Like it doesn't feel weird. It doesn't feel new. It's more like wow, I get to do this for real.
Yeah.
Like I get to be this. So I know this is the first of many, you know, and I just think I just got to get my feet wet. Mm-hmm. But trust me, this, I'm not nervous about this. I'm just glad that I get to do it.
That part.
Mm-hmm.
What does contentment look like for you? So when Noémie is not working in front of a camera, planning, what is bringing you that sense of peace, satisfaction? What things do you do?
So before I get into that, it's kind of two things. I know when you talk about complacency and contentment, I've never been complacent. I've always been kind of like the go-getter, but I will say that I've struggled with finding where I can center myself as a mom. So like, it was fine when it was just me. It was fine when I was just dating, but when you're a mother, like just to have to consider like the kids and their needs and the family before yours, I outsource. So that's one thing I do. Like I know you said something like, I don't got time to be folding no clothes. I don't have time to, you know, I focus my time on the things that I enjoy. Like I love to cook. That's why I say I'm a chef. I love to cook, but I still have the nanny there. So like you can watch kids while I can cook.
Enjoy cooking.
Yes, so I can enjoy cooking so that when the kids are eating, I can sit back and have a glass of wine and relax. So I think for me, it's not necessarily getting away from the family. It's freeing myself of the things that I don't want to do so I can enjoy the things that I do want to do.
Hearing you say this, and I've said it before, it sends chills because for so long, for all of time, we haven't heard Black women having these conversations.
Nope.
We've seen white women with their nannies. Mm-hmm. We've seen, like I remember when I worked at Ketchum, my boss, Mary Elizabeth, cool as a white girl, yo. She's from Jersey. Cool. I remember she had a baby, yeah. I remember she had a baby, and I was like 23 at the time, and she had a very high-powered position, and she had a nanny. Mm-hmm. And I just never considered that for me. And I didn't have kids. Well, I would have actually I had a kid the next year, actually, when I think about it. But just to be able to, again, have these conversations, not that it didn't exist, but I wonder if maybe we didn't feel comfortable saying that we get this help.
Oh, it's a comfort thing. I didn't start calling my nanny a nanny until recently. I always said the babysitter. You know, the pretentious comment. Like I didn't want to come across a certain way.
That's my favorite word, by the way.
But pretentious. All of my friends got help. Whether it's a paid nanny or something. Like, first of all, ain't nobody, you can't mom alone.
You can't.
You need a tribe. You need somebody, whether it's your friend, you know, watching your kids, your mom, your family member, you need that help. And I just feel like even with those women that have help, you have help to do the things that you're supposed to do, but you don't necessarily have help when you want to do the things that you want to do.
The things that make doing the things you're supposed to do feel better.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because it all plays a role. I think also our mom's generation, and I can only speak for my mom and her peer group, you know, I've had to remind my mom that I was getting dropped off at my grandmother's house. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing.
They forget,
They forget. And so it might look a little different for us also because we have these platforms to share. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like y'all was getting help too. It just looked a little different and maybe it wasn't as glamorized as we make it now. Yeah. But that's because of these platforms, we also have access to so much more information.
Absolutely.
You know, like I can go on Facebook and literally find a group of DMV nannies who specialize in children on the spectrum.
Yep.
Like it's very targeted. So it ain't hard for me to find the nanny that we need to hire for our kids. Like it's there. The information is out there and that's important. There's just so much. I don't want this to end.
Neither do I.
This conversation.
We're going to continue this. I'll be back.
You come back.
I was going to invite myself back, but let's do it. Part 2.
Done. What is next for you, Noémie?
We're scaling up. What's next is you're going to see a lot more of me. You know, I've been behind the scenes for a while. And first of all, I kind of hate that term, like behind the scenes. I'm working.
Come on.
You know, I've been working.
Yeah, there would be no scene. without your work.
There will be no company. There will be no Kier. There will be no Kier and Noémie. There will be no us without the work that I've done, But I think that what you were just saying is, we're not honest about the nanny thing, or, it looks like it's glamorized, but I can count 10 women right now that are doing what I'm doing. And, I have the platform where I can showcase what it really looks like behind the scenes, because I know that there is another woman out there that wants to do what I'm doing that just hasn't seen it, because I had that example. I had a woman on the internet. Her name is Maddie James. I had the pleasure of meeting her.
I don't know her, but I
met her in November in LA for the Black Love, and we became friends. And like when I saw her, and I modeled our entire family business around her. I modeled Kier's brand around her, and just meeting her in real life and getting the chance to be able to talk to her and to reach out to her. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm in this position because of you, that one person, because of you. And I'm like, if you can be that for me, I know that there's somebody looking at me like, how do I do that? So that's what I'm doing this. I'm doing this for us, because we can all do this.
That's real. And I take two things from that, right? The first part is when you have achieved some sort of success, or when you've done anything, you have a duty to share and to help. I'm not saying you have to have a course on it. I'm not saying you have to have open office hours where people pick your brain. But I am saying, and I've said this before, when you keep your arms closed, the blessings don't come to you. Right. So when God has elevated you and allowed you to see some type of success, and it doesn't always have to be monetary, it is on you to be gracious to those who are looking at you, because you never know who's looking at you. And when you are the person that is looking at someone in admiration, you have to be willing to say, I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for being an example. You may not want to ask them for help or whatever, but if you have a question, I think it's okay to ask. You got to put yourself out there too, right?
I
because
think so too.
They need to hear that what they're doing is inspiring.
They're human too.
They're human.
They're human too. And if you don't say it, how would they know?
How would they know?
They're not actors. They're not, singers, performers where, it's obvious that there's some type of fan base or just people looking up to you. These are everyday people showing you their everyday lives.
Which is, and if I'm being honest, that takes way more stress, commitment, all that than being able to be an actor and turn on.
I think so too.
Right?
Yeah, it's not a performance.
It's not a performance, which that's what we started the whole conversation with. This was so good.
I know.
Can't wait for part 2. Noémie, all her info is linked in the show notes, but please let everybody know how they can connect with you and Kier,
Awesome. I am on Instagram at Noémie Gaines, and on YouTube, Kier and Noémie. Just type that in, you'll find us. But do reach out, actually. One of the things that I've actually recently been doing is inviting, it's mostly women, but inviting people to talk to me. It doesn't have to be business. It could be, breastfeeding, momhood, entrepreneurship. I'm in a space where I really want to build community with the people around me. I don't want it to be this is this person here. I'm like, nah, we're all here. So please reach out.
Reach out. But before you reach out, and as you're reaching out, make sure you greet her and whoever you reach out to.
Please.
Hello, Noémie.
How are you?
Hi, such and such. Don't slide in her DM off some, how you do this. Let me tell y'all something. This is probably going to be a hack in a couple weeks or so. It is very rude, because I've had this happen, to just text somebody or to hop in their DM without greeting them. Yep. Say hi first. Because as we just said, we're human. Yep. So it's very rude to just hop in and ask somebody for something. Say hello. And so what I always do is respond, hi, how are you? You know what I'm saying? I
don't respond. I don't know who you're talking to. That's a question. I don't know if that's questions for me. I don't know. Just say hello.
And on that note, that's it. I'm going to do that. I'm not responding.
But people are quick. They'll be like, oh, I'm sorry.
See,
hi.
They'll catch themselves.
Yeah. And it's cool then. It's cool. It's fine if people are like, oh, my bad, I forgot to say hello. Okay, cool. That happens to me all the time. Cool.
I'm going to help you. I love it. You guys, favorite. As we go into May, I wanted to, as we're going into May is when we celebrate moms and Mother's Day. I really hope that this episode fuels you. I've had Mother's Days where I have not felt appreciated. And it had gotten to a point where I choose to spend Mother's Day alone. Wow. Because I was like, nobody's going to do anything for me, so I'm just going to do my own thing. Probably not the healthiest thing.
Let's spend Mother's Day together.
And and sing.
Yeah, let's do
period.
it. So you're never not going to feel seen no more.
There we go. Mm-hmm. There we go. And on that note, I hope that you all have an amazing, amazing, amazing weekend. Make sure you click all the links in the show notes to get all the goodness. Please connect with Noémie. You probably already are. You're probably watching this because she posted that she was on the show. But if that's the case, make sure you share it. And if you are just learning who she is, make sure you connect with her and her husband. The content is fun, inspiring, real. And as someone who knows them in real life, this is them. And
I appreciate so that. Refreshing. That's the goal.
Yeah, like it's not an act. Like this, they're allowing us into their world, but with a purpose, to educate, to inspire, to build community. Again, have an amazing weekend. Make sure you tap into all the links, and I will see you back here on Wednesday for a quick content mompreneur hack, and then another amazing, great, awesome full episode on Friday. Bye.
All right, now, y'all, don't forget to connect with Shades of Content on Instagram at Shades of Content, and with me, Patrice Camo, at Patrice Camo. And also be sure to rate this show, leave a review, and subscribe, because that's actually the only way that we're going to grow. I'll see you next week.